Okay, let's try this again. I have been so desperate to change, but recently I've figured something out. I think every room in our home holds a different conversation, right? I'm sitting in my living room. Here is where we gather, where we connect, where we have difficult conversations. And a lot of times those difficult conversations lead to conversations that we really need to be having with ourselves. And while I was redesigning this room after picking up and moving to a new state from New York to North Carolina, no friends, no family, didn't know a soul here, I started to ask myself questions that I really think I was avoiding. Why was I so desperate to change? That was a conversation that I hadn't had with anyone yet, let alone myself. So before I moved, me and one of my best friends were having a conversation, and she was like, dang, like what I wouldn't give to just pick up and move to a new state and nobody knows me and I can just start fresh. And I'm like, hell yeah, like I'm lucky I get to do that. We all know Beyonce has an alter ego, Sasha Fierce. Who's gonna be my alter ego? This is my chance to be more confident, more put together, more whatever I thought other people would like, if I'm being honest with you. I was like, that's really cool that I get to do that because nobody knows me. If nobody knows me, maybe I can just leave the parts of me behind that I don't like, and nobody ever has to know. Nobody's gonna find me out. And then I actually did it. I moved, going to events, meeting people. And in the beginning, that was fun. I thought, this is it. And then I started noticing something. Every time a part of me showed up or slipped up that I didn't like, it was literally like I had a freeze moment. I was like, did they just see that? Did they notice that I said that or I did that? Like, they're not gonna like me anymore. What? I'll give you an example. I have this group that I go to every week. It's my church community, but they're really my friends and I love them very much. We start off with an icebreaker and they were like, if there was one skill that you could have tomorrow, like be an expert at it, what would it be? And I know, looking back on it, hindsight is 2020, there were all these creative things popping in my head. Play guitar, be able to sing. And I was like, stocks. I want to be good at stocks. That's the skill I want to know. Girl, stocks? Like, yeah, it's a good thing to know. It's not a bad skill to learn, but I knew deep down that that was manufactured because I thought that was the appropriate thing to say. And there were just all these little moments like that that I would catch myself really suppressing me. Instead of feeling free here, I started performing. I wasn't becoming somebody new. I was just creating another version of myself that I had to keep up with. I was adding another layer on to my already complicated self. Why? The thing that I realized was that a new place can't heal the parts of you that came with you. All these fresh starts give us a new environment, but we still bring the same relationship that we have with ourselves. So I had to sit with myself and ask, what was fundamentally wrong with me that I felt the need to change something about myself? What did future Bora have that Bora now didn't deserve? Was it love? Was it acceptance? What was the missing thing that I feel like I needed to perform to get? And don't get me wrong, change is not a bad thing, but I think the issue nowadays is that we've blurred self-improvement with self-rejection. Those are two completely different things. I wasn't just chasing a new life. I was chasing permission to finally feel like I was enough. And once I saw that, I couldn't stop noticing how often we all do this. Like, once I get there, once I lose the weight, once I move, once I meet someone, once I finally get organized, it's just like we spend so much time trying to build our lives around the next version of us that we forget to know the person who's already there. And that's a problem. Whether it's social media, self-help culture, don't get me wrong, all these things are fantastic. But I think a lot of us expect the external changes to fix these internal changes. And yes, they help get us along the way, but you're always gonna meet yourself where you are. Like, you can't neglect the version of you who you are now. Why didn't I start asking myself more questions? I had to really start giving myself grace in areas of my life that I just really wasn't proud of or really had a lot of shame around. And I think shame holds us back from the internal growth that we want to have because we haven't forgiven ourselves for things that we just maybe regret doing, or maybe regret not becoming. I know that some parts of me absolutely needed to change. I know they still do. The move here was obviously because I needed to change environmentally, but I was really hoping deep down inside that I just come up and be this like new person. And it wasn't until I got here and I started putting myself in environments where I was accepted as I am, in those moments that I just slipped up, like, oh, they still called me to hang out. They still want to be around me. It was like, why am I just trying to totally dismiss every part of me instead of being like, like I didn't really like that thing that I did, or I'm not really like crazy about that part of me, but this is why I am that way. And maybe we can just like meet each other halfway. I still want to love myself in the in-between. Like, what are the qualities about myself that I actually really like? I think we've confused a few things where we're rejecting every part of ourselves to become somebody totally new, somebody that we see on social media. There's got to be something about yourself that you like. I don't think authenticity means accepting every part of yourself and never changing. Don't get me wrong. It's being honest enough to know which parts need compassion. And I feel like a lot of us are desperately wanting to just change and wish ourselves into somebody new because we're not willing to look at ourselves and figure out the parts of us that we actually do like. Not just going to sleep and waking up as a new person. I don't want to be an entirely new person. Like, there's parts of me that I would like to change, but I don't feel that desperation to show up and be any different than who I am anymore. I want to feel more desperate to enjoy the life that I have and that I'm living, not this desperation to like change who God made me to be. I just want to improve. When we find that compassion within ourselves, it starts to build this partnership with ourselves, and we start looking back on things. You can start to understand where behaviors might have came from, and you can actually fix it in a loving way. Oh, I don't like that version of me. When I skip town, I'm gonna just become somebody different. No, you're not just gonna go to sleep and wake up somebody different. Maybe some people do, but I guarantee you there are parts of themselves that they're struggling with, period, that are gonna resurface. It doesn't just change like that. I think it's important for us to choose what stays and to choose what no longer serves you. Gracefully let those things go. This just doesn't work for me anymore. This part of myself is no longer serving me. I want to build better. Not this desperate urge to just like not be in Bora anymore. I really put this out there to say that I thought this whole adventure, this whole journey here would change fundamentally who I was. But it didn't. It changed my environment. It made me realize how desperate I was for change. And it made me have to face that and not ignore that. I thought this new place would give me permission to become a totally different person. Instead, it just showed me how much energy I was spending trying to not be myself. And that's a lot of fucking energy to expend. I feel like we're so desperate to change because we believe the life that we want belongs to a future version of ourselves. It belongs to you right now, not this future perfect version of you. It belongs to you right now, and it's not gonna come to you until you believe that. So you've gotta dig deep and start working on the version of you that you are right now and being happy with that while you grow. Don't grow from fear, grow from love. There's nothing wrong with wanting a new chapter in your life. We just need to stop expecting a new setting will write a different story. I don't believe that growth is about becoming someone else. It's becoming more honest with who you already are, the parts that need change and the parts that need compassion. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed our first video in the living room and our first real conversation, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.